Merry Christmas, friend.
Merry Christmas.
How are you, Dr. Lauren Templeton?
I'm so good. I'm coming to you in my little mom Christmas outfit. I had a mom Christmas event today with my kindergartners, so I got Christmas earrings on and a nice little Christmas tree.
That's a cute mom shirt because I've seen a lot of
Oh,
mom outfits, so you're doing good.
I had this, I put it on and I thought, yeah, I'm a mom. I'm a mom. If it wasn't official when they came out, it was official when I put these Christmas earrings on. I mean,
Right. I almost wore these, so I had to have them nearby. I think I'm going to save them for the holiday party I'm attending tomorrow. Look, obnoxious, right?
cute, perfect.
Yeah. So let me go ahead and just say happy holidays to our audience. Whatever you celebrate, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, winter solstice, or nothing, because we're going to talk
Mhm.
about that today too. We are just happy you're here to spend this time. Our heart is always here to bring valuable resources and help everyone. So thank you for joining us. Yay! We
Yay.
made it. So, first of all, I have some stuff that I want to show you before we jump all the way in to the show that we have planned for folks today. Do you have any like holiday traditions or movies that you like to watch during Christmas?
Yeah, so our tradition is to kind of do activities together. And
Mm-hmm.
so I started early out trying to make it cookie making, but now that my boys are outdoor boys, it's fishing of all sorts. And so we've gotten into these fishing routines, but probably if, really sitting down and watching movies together. And I just think of the holidays. It makes me think of the movie Fried Green Tomatoes, which is not a holiday movie whatsoever, but it makes me think of good times sitting with my mom and watching TV and cuddling. That's my favorite part about the holidays. It's slowing down.
That's what it's for in our pajamas and all that stuff. You know, um, One of my sons, he loves to watch A Christmas Story over and over on Christmas Day. It's just on TBS or one of those shows just
Mhm.
constantly. The movie that popped in my mind because I always want to tie it into our work is Best Man Holiday, because that is a movie. It's in the sequel of the Best Man movie series, and I don't want to give it away. Some people hate it because something happens in it, but it ties in end of life things, and I think it's going to be so apropos for what we're talking about today and different resources for folks. So, it can spark a lot of conversations, but I'm going to watch Fried Green Tomatoes while I'm on vacation and then I'm going to text you.
Yeah, get ready for some tissues. You got to have the tissues with you.
I love a good cry in a movie. Ask me how many
Hmm.
times I've watched The Color Purple, and it's like I watched it for the first time.
Hmm.
Yeah, so everyone, I'm just so glad that you're here. And we had a couple healthcare holidays. I like to cover those. We had World AIDS Day here in December, and I bring that up because that's one of the conditions that we take care of folks at the end stages of that. We don't see a ton of cases because of the advancements in medications and PrEP and all those things. But I just wanted to mention that was on December 1st. And it was also colorectal cancer awareness month. So, obviously, we have a lot of cancer that comes our way, people that we take care of. So, just wanted to mention that. So, why are we here? We saw a bunch of posts on Instagram, one of our favorite places, and we kind of put our minds together to see what the audience would need during this time of year. There was a post on Twitter from an ER doc encouraging people not to run to the emergency room at the first sight of seeing grandma after a year and seeing that she's changed a little bit. So that kind of made me think, maybe we should talk about it. Then I saw a post on Instagram where caregiver Carla, I'm actually going to have an opportunity to speak to her and may tag this onto this podcast, where she just wants to have a normal day. Don't put the pressure on her. So that's where we birthed this holiday episode where we want to cover some things and we want to make sure that we're here to support you during this time. Right, Lauren? Dr. Templeton, I love
Yeah.
saying your whole name.
It's just so important because to me, the holidays just bring in every single different aspect of the good and the bad in
Hmm.
grief and caregiving and loss. And it's a tough time. It can be amazing and happy and awful and shocking and traumatic. And you also can just want it to go away and get through it and survive. And it's normal to have a lot of different experiences. So I think that's my number one thing in wanting to talk about this with you is to normalize that it looks different for everybody.
Absolutely. And while I may be obnoxious wearing this hat that keeps sliding off my head and have all these props, that's the place I'm in. And I know it won't always be this way. My
Yeah.
kids don't live here, so I live for pulling out. You were talking about kindergarten. I have all these kindergarten props that I look forward to pulling out for the holidays, all the ornaments they made, handmade ornaments, this is what I live for. Back in 1998 when we were a family of just one baby, all these
Oh, so
things.
good, baby.
I think everyone took the pictures at Sears back in the day, right? Look at this one with the macaroni on it. This is for my 25-year-old son. Like, I live to pull these out. I
That is
literally
so
live to put them out.
sweet.
And then I have to show this because one day these may be destroyed or they may not be nice anymore. Each of the kids made a stocking in kindergarten, where you put the little glitter and the glue, Elmer's
Oh
glue.
yeah, yeah.
So I have all three of them and I live for them. Look at this. Javelin, Elisha, he was different. And Kayla. Uh-oh, Kayla, where are you? She did. I live for this,
They
right?
did a great job. So
So
cute.
so yeah, we're in the process of making other memories now that they're adults, but we live for that, and so
Mhm.
so it's just fun. So let's go ahead and talk about some of the things we have going on here. So the story of today is actually, I watched a documentary and it was just released actually on November 17th. It's a documentary about Tyler Perry, the movie mogul.
Mhm.
Um, I mean, that's probably putting him in a box, but it's entitled Maxine's Baby. And there's a part of the movie, I actually put it on social media, where he says he has one regret. And it was when his mother was on her deathbed. And he said he wishes that he let her say what she wanted to say to him because he was uncomfortable in the situation. He was had something to do, and he had, I don't want to misquote him, but he was saying he was spiritualizing the situation, kind of like she was getting better, gonna get better, and all that stuff. But that was the last time he saw her, and he wishes he just would have let her talk. And you and I are often in these situations, and that's what we facilitate in hospice, bridging those lines of communication. And so my heart just cried watching it
Mhm.
because we want, maybe if people listen to this, they can do some work ahead of time and not have those situations of regret.
Mhm. Yeah, man, I think of probably the thing that I do with the most impact as a hospice physician is not what anyone thinks. It's actually telling people and encouraging them, or even giving them the space to have hard conversations with their loved one and to say, your goodbyes or permission to pass. That's a big, big thing. Or, really to help people tap into the sad part, which I think we just want to bypass it. We want to avoid difficult emotions. And we see it. There's so much joy in vulnerable, hard talks that it just helps to make grief normal versus complicated. And I hate that for him, but I love that he gives some words to that in his position because it's going to hit so many people. And it's just so important. When, if there's anything I could say in the holidays when you're exposed to more people, is if you have the emotional space, because that's the thing. You might have to set boundaries when you don't have the emotional space, but letting people talk and listening to what they have to say is just so amazing.
Yeah, and he added to that how his child has brought new meaning to the holidays, because his mom passed away, I think, between Thanksgiving and Christmas.
Mm.
So a lot of folks have the cycle of grief. We have seasonal depression and things of that nature. So again, I think that can help so many people. And I love how some things that are just, a part of the entertainment industry, they actually facilitate emotions in us and help us to do things. So we don't want it to be all sad, but I think that's just a good segue to spread out to the different facets of dealing with end of life issues, whether you're in it, whether it's behind you, whether you're the caregiver, or whether you're the patient. There's something here in this episode for you. And so I'm glad we touched on that. So I just have a bunch of stuff that we can go through and list for our educational piece. And then all of these links will be in the show notes so you can find what's important to you. If you're, again, the patient, the person, of course, we care about your personhood, whether you're a caregiver, just trying to get through, or whether you're someone who's grieving and this is your first holiday. So we're going to touch on all that stuff. Or if you're scared and you're not addressing things. So we're going to touch
Mhm.
on that. So first, Barbara Carnes talked about what to do while waiting. So that kind of touches on, that Maxine's baby Tyler Perry story. She gave some tips on that. And I'm not going to dig too deep into them. Everyone should know who Nurse Barbara Carnes is. She's one of our pioneers in hospice. I had her on for World Hospice Day, and she just puts out so many resources. She is the author
Mm.
of Gone from My Sight, and she has been preparing families for what to expect at the end for
And Gone
decades.
from My Sight, the little blue book, in case people don't know it by its real name, because I think we often refer to her books as the color that they are. And I mean, and she's had more experience with death and dying here recently and personal experiences. And I just, um, she served our industry just incredibly, but I think she's found this new space of vulnerability in having recently experienced loss. And I just really admire what she's doing with her grief, because we don't all have that in us to publicize our grief and go through it, with the world to watch. And she just has been so vulnerable about her loss and her caregiving experience. And I couldn't applaud her enough. I'm so grateful to what she's done for our caregivers and support teams, and helping hospice professionals have hard conversations easier. I think she opens the door to lots of different things that are great for everybody involved.
Yeah, I had to, I almost cried just talking to her a few times because it was so fresh and it was so generous of her to
I know.
even share.
Yeah, get that raw about it. And I'll say though, for people who listen to her, don't think that you're not normal if you can't do that, because
Right.
she has a skill set in storytelling. I mean, she can put
Mm,
it in a book, she can verbalize it, she can put it on social media. Um, and it's helpful to her. You can see how it's helpful to her. And but not everybody will be that way. And so I would encourage those who are listening to her, you'll get something from it, but don't expect that you should be able to do the same thing, especially this soon.
right. Right. And so let's now, move on to the caregivers who, like Carla said, be mindful. Remember that not everyone is going to be holly and jolly all season. People are grieving, financially stressed, burnt out, doing the best they can. Holidays are a tough time of year for a lot of folks, and you never know what someone else is going through. And on this post, she has this little song, If I Get Through December. I don't even know who sings it, but I'm going to have to find it. It sounds like a
Mm-hmm.
wonderful country song.
Mm-hmm.
But it just opened my eyes. Like a lot of, the things we encounter do. We're always learning, and it just stopped me in my tracks. And so I wanna be a resource here.
Mm-hmm. I think that sounds it's just such good advice. And you said you look jolly and happy. And the first thing that came to my mind is some people put on that brave face and and make themselves look like something that they're not. And so we just have to expect that people are going through stuff. I mean, life is hard. And then you add all the stress of the holidays, and they may not be at their best, and they may want to avoid it and get through it. I mean, the idea of just getting through December, I think that is quite common actually for people. I just want to survive this. I'm not going to be able to do the fun things or see the joy like I used to be able to. And it's okay. So if you have
It,
someone in your life that can't get, you know, to the parties or do the happy stuff or wants to be left out of the gift exchange, it's okay for them to grieve and take a minute and not participate.
absolutely. And then this other post that said, don't do this to caregivers,
Oh,
putting all that pressure on them. Remember that one?
oh, I loved it. I loved it because it highlighted so many little comments that I've heard, and I didn't even realize that you know, how it can be received as the caregiver. And you're just like, yeah, there's not a need to add a whole nother layer of difficulty if your loved one can't make it to the party. And whether that's just with physical presence or maybe they're gone. Um, it is no one needs to be anything but themselves. I don't mean that we all have to navigate somebody else's journey, but I do think being mindful about the people that you love and how you can support them is a great idea. And maybe less is more in that regard. Fewer comments.
Absolutely. And then I'll say Carla did, then she posted on a different day. Again, she was in the mood. She had her mother who is, who has Alzheimer's disease. She was enjoying some soup and watching a Christmas movie that she loves. And it was like, well, that day she is doing it, but she doesn't want the
Mm-hmm.
pressure. It needs to be healthy for them. And
Mm-hmm.
so here's some other things. So I curated a bunch of things for legacy projects. Tell me what you think about legacy projects.
Oh, just the idea of um, well, I think it's helpful to look at it in two manners. So the people who leave the legacy, it is helpful for their grief when they have a hard road ahead of them, when they know, let's say they have this terminal diagnosis, and they're able to write letters to their loved ones, um, or even record messages to them, or maybe talk to them about stories that were important that they don't want to die with them. I think it's so helpful in the person who is suffering to say goodbye. And these legacy letters, videos, my own personal experiences, particularly with mothers leaving letters to their daughters, so that when they get married or graduate from high school or get their heart broken for the first time, those types of letters. I mean, talk about very hard moments. But for the person writing the letter, it can be good to get that out and on paper or on recording or however they do it. But the recipient, I mean, it just brings me joy just thinking about this little girl who maybe she was 8 when her mom died, and when she gets her heart broken for the first time, she has this letter from her mom, and when she gets married, her mom's there with her. Or if you're losing your grandpa and you took the time to record his World War II stories at Christmas this year, and you get to listen to them forever. That the legacy part, I think, is having hard conversations and doing hard things, but is so valuable for both sides.
Oh my gosh. So yeah, I have actually a few options that I'm going to put in the show notes for you. There's one that's a journal that you could use, and then legacy life videos you can create. So have fun with that, you all. Now, we got to rewind though, because like you said, we got to do the hard things. Um, we have to actually have the conversation. And I like to normalize them and say it's necessary because, again, back to Tyler Perry sharing about his one regret, you know, again, I even hate to speak on it because, I empathize with his pain. You can't go back. And, you just have to redefine those things. Actually, I saw a post today that said being kind to yourself when you have regrets, know that you did what you could in that moment.
Mhm.
Um, I hope he's not that he even listens to this, but I hope that he can be kind to himself about that. So the death deck, one of my friends, one of my favorites, they actually had a post about inviting the elephant in the room for Christmas.
Mm.
So, uh-oh, my hat's leaving. Okay, whatever. I'm not picking it up. So inviting the elephant into the room during Christmas. How do you do that? Well, the death deck, they have that original death deck it's kind of more, comedic and, in your face about death. But then they just created something called the end of life deck. That's more for our hospice world, where we have to kind of be more sacred, where some of you listeners may see my voice change to my hospice voice. It comes down, it's a little more gentle and delicate in navigating the world. We can't just be in your face about death and the D word all the time. Sometimes we need to, again, we're saying that talking about death and dying, but we're doing it in a more sacred way, in a more respectful way. And so that deck can help facilitate that and be a tool for families.
I love it, especially when you want to learn from people like Tyler Perry and put yourself into the situations to have hard conversations, but it's not normal for you. Lots of people are out thinking like, yeah, well, how do I do this? How do I get that conversation started? I think that's a great resource for people.
Right. And another one from my other favorite friends, the Conversation Project, I actually ran into them at Endwell. I was like such a groupie over there. But when I first saw their video back in, I believe it was 2017, um, they talked about something called estate planning of the heart.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that a great term?
Mm-hmm.
And planning ahead for your family, talking about your wishes, and asking your parents about their wishes to prevent those often chaotic circumstances that we see when there's a fall, when there's an unexpected diagnosis and all that stuff. You have time to plan ahead. So I'm not going to dig into it too much here. You can go back to episode 2 from National Healthcare Decisions Day, and I highlight a couple resources from the Conversation project about dealing with advanced care planning and being detailed about it. You have any thoughts on that, Lauren?
Yeah, really, I think as the holidays coming up, maybe you're listening to this and you don't find yourself grieving or a caregiver or anyone with a terminal illness, but maybe you have your parents who want to talk about this. They say, I'm getting up there in age. I want to tell you about what my wishes are. And it's usually not that, black and white, like I just said, but it might come up naturally. I would encourage everybody to take a pause and have space to let them talk through that. Because when you have those insights to what people really want, and are guided by that, of course, we want advanced directives, but those hard conversations mean so much down the road. They really, really, really do. So just take a pause before you say, oh, no, we don't need to talk about that. It's the holidays, or let's keep it light. It's Christmas. Maybe you say, yeah, I hear that that's important to you. Tell me more about it.
Yeah,
And I think it can be some really good stuff.
yeah. Well, so we're going to bring the elephant in the room. And then, last but certainly not least, some people here are navigating first. This might be your first holiday without your person, your husband, your wife, your mother, your dad, your child, or it may not be your first, but the feelings are like it is your first. That that's serious, and so we want to address that here. I have a couple resources. One is from the hospice doctor's widow. She is just giving us so much stuff. Um, it's called A Griever's Guide to Major Days. So you can download that from her website. And then the NHPCO has been doing a campaign on grief during the holidays. That's a hashtag, grief during the holidays. And they have curated a bunch of resources, podcasts, books for you to look at if you want. They actually included our hospice doctor widows episode, and for National, Hospice and Palliative Care Month, about courageous conversations. That was a theme, and so thank you for that, NHPCO. But that's something, and then also there's something called help text. So that's all I have. What do you think about our grievers? I'm sure you have a word for them.
Oh, just courage, being brave. We were talking about our kids. I have little kids, and I try to remind them that being brave doesn't mean that you're not sad, scared, fearful. It actually means that you're feeling those feelings and walking through them. That's what being brave is. And so sometimes being brave is just waking up that morning and having a cup of coffee. And sometimes being brave is going to the family dinner for just an hour and leaving. And sometimes being brave is saying, no, I'm not able to attend. And so that's going to look different for everybody. But I just would encourage people to align that braveness with self-love, that you can only do what you can do. We're all doing the best that we can, and it might not look like the last year, and that it's okay to be sad. It just is.
It is. It is. Well, we can hold space for more than one emotion. But I think the key here is giving space for all of them and within ourselves, creating boundaries when we don't have the emotional capacity for those things, normalizing it. It is okay. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you want to have any things to wrap this up, if you have anything to say before I get into the couple valuable resources to close this out. But I love to hear from you always, regulatory guru.
Oh, regulatory, goodness.
Well, it doesn't have to be that. I mean,
Oh,
whatever.
good. I don't think I
We're
can
we're
pull that
we're
out on the
landing
spot
this
about this.
plane
Yeah,
here.
yeah, yeah. No, I think like what I just said, that if that person is struggling, and you're on the other side, what the people who are having the party can do is when someone calls you and says they can't come, you can say it's okay. You're doing the best that you can. I think I would remind people on both sides that you can acknowledge that it's really hard and that they're really doing anything that they can just to walk through it. And um, giving them love is giving them permission to say no too. So that's kind of a no guilt trips needed to give permission for grief.
Absolutely. And Carla, again, our guest caregiver, I hope she'll be able to join. And if she doesn't, that's okay too. But she said, we see the invitations, but sometimes we can't acknowledge them. It's just too much going on. So that's okay too. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm just so grateful. I invite you all to engage on social media, because I'm always there for you. If you want to plan things ahead of time, you have a serious condition that may benefit from hospice care in the future, that I have that book, The Real Deal About Hospice. It's actually highlighting the different body systems. And it's a story, a light story, not sad stories, about how hospice care may look. And again, that's a way to plan ahead. And there's resources there. And then for January, our bonus episode is going to give you tools, or the best tips, I should say, on finding a hospice. So we're always here to empower you, to educate you, and help you navigate this end of life road or the late stages of life. So thank you all for being here. This is our bonus holiday episode, and I'm so glad that my friend joined me again.
Cheers. Thank you for having me.
Let's cheers. Here's mine too. This may or may not be cranberry juice.
Yes, this has some orange juice in it.
All right. Thank you. Merry Christmas, Dr. Templeton.
Merry Christmas.
We are continuing our holiday episode here at Dr. G in the Heart of Healthcare. And I have my Instagram friend here, Carla of Damn You Dementia, over
Hey,
here. Welcome.
thank you. Thank you for having me.
It's so good to meet you. You and your mother. I just love your post.
Thank you. I try to keep it real.
Okay, and let me tell the people we keep it real, right? Because that's why I put out that book, The Real Deal About Hospice, because we keep it real deal. Guess why? Because we're both from LA.
West Side.
Anybody listening knows what that means. I don't have to explain what that means. So anyway, so happy to have you here. And just I want to just acknowledge the burden. I know it's not a burden for you, but we're just going to say in the United States, we have the unpaid caregiving that so many Americans do for our seniors. And it's just, I don't even know all the figures. It's out there, but they need to address it. But I just do my part at highlighting your stories and hoping people can, feel support and also be empowered. And hopefully the people in charge can help out some more, and doctors can be better and all those things. So that's always my intention here. So tell me about your page, Damn You Dementia. Like, how did you start that page?
Well, I was, of course, doing the social media thing, just scrolling. And I started seeing, of course, your phone hears everything. So I started seeing different things about caregivers and stuff like that. And I was like, dang, maybe I need to start documenting, some of the things that are happening, because I was very ill-equipped when I said, oh, my mama got to come live with me. And I said, well, I'm going to start documenting things, because some of the things were really funny in the early stages. I was like, she is tripping. Somebody needs to see this. You're not going to believe this if I tell you this.
Wait, so tell us how many years has it been that you've been taking care of her?
5 years.
5 years. Okay, so some of the stuff was funny.
Young, yeah. And when she first came, I think I kind of smothered her with care that she probably didn't need then. But I was just like, oh, I'm going to take care of you. Like, let me cut your meat up. And she was like, girl, relax.
She keeps it real too, because she's from Watts. That's what I'm talking about.
Born and raised. She's a Watts girl. Graduated from Fremont High. Yes.
Hey.
Nickerson Gardens. Yes. Yes, ma'am. Yeah. Don't play with it.
Okay, wait. Look right here. People know, my listeners know.
Okay.
LA Rams.
Yes.
All right.
I just wanted to, so I started documenting, and too, because just in my household at the time when this first started, my daughter is a teacher. She's a 5th grade teacher. She's here. My husband's here. And I just felt like they were here with me, helping me, but not completely understanding how it was for the turnaround of, yeah, like now I'm taking care of my mom. You know what I mean? My mom, who I would call every day and be like, girl, let me tell you what happened from work, or let me tell you what this is, or let me tell you what you think about this. Me and the hubby, it ain't good today. So what you think about that? And now I'm like, wait, I'm taking care of her. And they were like, well, we're here too. But it wasn't the same. I needed somebody to understand what I was going through. And so, I got 1 follower, 2 followers, 5 followers, and people were like, yeah, I just started this too, or I've been doing it for years. And I got so much information that it's therapeutic for me still. I love it. I love it. Most 99% of my information comes from my page and other caregivers, not from healthcare.
Yeah, because you got what I've seen this year, doing the podcast and being more engaged, is there's a beautiful community on social media. So I'm grateful to have that, kind of peek into your lives as well, because it's really enlightened me and woke me up. And that's what we're going to talk about your post in a second. But what you mentioned, I want to highlight for the audience, is a transition that you went through. The hospice doctor's widow, she talked to us at the NHPCO conference, and also in her, some of her documents and some of her resources, that a caregiver goes through a transition from being a life-sustaining caregiver to one that's taking care of someone at the end of life. And I know I didn't say that right, but I'll put a link to it in the show notes. And that's what you just described to us. And I love how you found community in social media with it. And that's the beauty of social media. We're not alone. Like the double-edged sword is sometimes we're just scrolling and not connecting, but
Right.
for others of us, you know, we find community. So thank you for doing that. So anyway, tell us more about how it's been.
It's been wonderful. Like I said, I've learned so much. And then I found, well, because, you know, with the diagnosis, I really didn't get any information. And that turned out to be so very common. You know, you just go to the doctor and they're like, yeah, they have early onset of dementia, or, you know, they in this stage or that stage. My mom was pretty much otherwise healthy. And so the doctor, that's what she said. And she was like, but her labs and everything is good. So we'll see you in 6 months. And I was like, okay. Because in my head, again, in the Black and Brown community, you generally take care of your parents or your grandparents. A lot of times, grandparents are in the home anyway. I mean, everybody knows how to take care of grandma and papa. Even the little kids, you know, they've been around them their whole life. So if they say, well, hold papa's hand to get him to the table, the kids know how to do it. So, yeah, but this is a little bit different. So I was just like, okay, I'm seeing some things that she can't stay by herself. So she's going to come live with us. Not even thinking I work full time. My husband works full time. My daughter works full time. So bringing her to our house, she was still going to be here by herself. Not thinking of that at all. Then
I can't even believe you work full time and do this.
Gotta.
I know.
Gotta keep a roof over our head.
I know.
Not getting any financial assistance. Can't get paid to be a caregiver in Georgia for a family member unless you do not work. And the stipend is not going to sustain you. So, yeah.
Wow. Well.
And my family that's in LA, they're like, well, what about this? We get that, and you can do this, and you know, you can get all the things that LA has going on as far as health and help. I'm like, yeah, we don't have that in Georgia. What do they call it? In-home?
In-home health support.
Yeah. No.
Wow.
So yeah, that was a little disheartening because I was like, okay, I got to think about this. Financially, I have to think about this. How am I going to navigate this? How am I going to feel having a stranger come into my home, take care of my mom, and have full access to everything in my house? You know, I'm like, yeah, I mean, I have associates that I'll be like, yeah, don't come to my house. So now you're telling me I got to have somebody come in here and take care of my mama? That was rough.
Yeah, you know, and that's a cultural difference. Different cultures are more protective of who comes into their home. That's how I'll say that. Yes. That's how I'll say that. And so I appreciate that and respect that. And, you know, as a hospice physician and someone who walks into different folks' home, I have to be aware of, you know, and be culturally competent, have cultural humility in every home I walk into. And so thank you for helping the listeners hear about that. And another thing I want to point out is if there are some physicians listening, this whole conversation is reminding me of a training you can do in California called Dementia Care Aware. And it's the information that can be provided to the caregivers and to the family and to the patient when we are giving a diagnosis, or we recognize dementia, I should say, and we're working up the diagnosis of the cause of dementia. So they can plan ahead, because that's the point of letting them know, so they can plan ahead. We want advanced care planning. So, yeah, so good. So let's get to this post, because I don't want to keep you. And tell us about your mom. What do you want us to know about her, little lady?
The little lady. She is a little lady, tiny little thing. She is, like I said, born and raised in Los Angeles. She was a private investigator.
Mm.
She used to work in asset protection and undercover for May Company. She was the only female in a group of 5 men. Yeah.
Okay. Wait a minute. At May Company on Crenshaw?
May Company on Crenshaw and downtown May Company. Yes.
On Crenshaw and Martin Luther King.
That's the one. Well,
Or Santa Barbara. It used to be called Santa Barbara before Martin Luther King.
What? Yes. She would be the one who would say, well, I can't do anything with them until they walk out the store. And then when they walk out the store, she was doing her thing.
That's why you can't get nothing by her.
High heel boots and her curly afro. Yes.
You know my alter. Okay, if I wasn't a doctor, I wouldn't be in the CIA. Law enforcement detective, something like I would be in there
got
too.
My investigative skills from her because I'd be like, listen, I'm gonna ask you, but I'm telling you, I already know. So just go ahead and tell me the truth. It's not gonna work. You can't get it past.
Well,
it's a pistol.
I like it. And what's your dog's name?
My dog's name is Maximus. He follows her around. Sometimes we have to tell him to get out the way. We got it, Max. We got it.
They know. Dogs know what's going on.
Yes. I love him. Only time that he makes me mad is when he busts in her room in the morning and I'm like, yo, we trying to have coffee and it's quiet time, but you're going to go in there and make sure that she's getting up. So the day has begun.
You need your quiet moment too. I get it. Well, so we're in the holiday season and, I saw how you put that post. It was on December 6th and you said, be mindful. And there was a song playing in the background. If we can just get through December, everything will be okay. Who sings that song?
Now doggone it. I'm not
sure. Because I was like, wait a minute, what is the song?
I can't remember who sings it, but when I heard it, I was like, this is perfect. December is so stressful, even under normal circumstances. December is just stressful. We put so much pressure on ourselves to be this commercial happy, we're shopping, where all is well. December is stressful. And then you start adding a real life to it. It is like, whew, hold on.
Yeah, life is life but you said, be mindful. Remember that not everyone is going to be holly and jolly all season. People are grieving, financially stressed, burnt out, doing the best they can. Holidays are a tough time of the year for a lot of folks, and you never know what someone else is going through. I just said, whoa. And that's what made me say, okay, wait a minute. How can we support you? And you told me normalize not decorating, shopping, or celebrating. It's okay to just have a regular day, and even better to have a day or holidays without pressure, stress, anxiety, sadness, or depression. Wink. And I was with you. I'm here. So that's why we're here. For people to know that
it's okay. It's okay. That when you look at it, that 24 hours, Christmas Day, it comes and goes just like that. I've heard people say, oh, I'm just having such a good time shopping, my kids, my this, my that. And then on the 26th, they are depressed. It's that ultimate high and then that drop down. So that's just for somebody who doesn't really have hardships going on or anything like that. So imagine if somebody is like, I'm financially strapped and I can't do what I want to do for Christmas. Or like myself, for the past couple of years, I've been working on the holidays. And I think that was my way of being like, oh, I can't because I have to work, versus I'm tired. It's hard for me to get my mom in and out. I don't know how she's going to respond if we're all together, and we're loud. We're loud in my house, and there's no children here. So imagine if I go over my cousin's house and then some other cousins are there and some other cousins and friends. I don't know how my mom's going to respond. You know, if I do take her, am I just going to have to sit with her? So I'm still feeling isolated, you know, or is that going to be a burden to the host? You know, it's a lot. And so this year I was like, listen, I'm off. We're home. We're chilling. I was like, we're not doing matching pajamas. We're not doing any of that. We're going to chill, have a good dinner, and just be thankful that nobody has to go to work today. And we still up and above ground. That's it.
Amen to that. And then I like a couple days later, you had a post where you said someone came and gave you a loving family visit, and then your mom was sitting there sipping some soup, watching This Christmas, enjoying herself. It's just a normal, peaceful moment.
Yes. So my cousin came by. She was like, I just want to come and sit with mom. I was like, that's fine. Because that's another thing that I'm learning too, because I used to be so upset with everybody because nobody was coming by, you know, normal, just, hey, what you doing? I'm gonna run by. That kind of came to a screeching halt. And I think it is because people don't know how to navigate with dementia. And I know that I have visited friends who have a grandparent or someone who's just older, and you're kind of like, oh, are they okay? You know, can I say hi to them? How are they going to feel? So, you know, you just start learning, and I had to learn how to be like, it's okay. She's saying hi to you. She may not remember your name, but it's okay. You know, it is okay. So it's a lot of learning that goes with it. And then sometimes my mom can be clear as a bell. You're kind of like, wait, what? So yeah, there's a lot of learning in becoming a caregiver for someone with Alzheimer's. A lot.
You know, November was Alzheimer's Awareness Month, and I think I was the last person to watch that movie, Still Alice, and not that is the full representation of everyone's journey, but it was put on by the Alzheimer's Association just to raise awareness. And it just makes me just opened up my heart so much more to have compassion about you know, having your loved one forget who you are and all those things that you navigate while you're learning and caregiving. So during this episode, we're going to actually have some resources for folks during the holidays that they may want to use or may not. Some legacy projects, you know, some journals, some pages that offer creating videos for your family stories and things like that. Do you have any, you know, family traditions or memories or anything that you like to share or highlight?
We kind of house hopped on Christmas. Now Thanksgiving was a little bit tougher because my mom usually did Thanksgiving. And so I was like, yeah, I mean, at my young age,
yeah,
I never had to do Thanksgiving. So like I said, the past couple of years, I've been like, yeah, I'm going to work because who gonna do Thanksgiving? Because it's not me. And
it's a lot.
Yeah, it is a lot. So I think Thanksgiving was a little bit harder than Christmas is for me. And I only have one daughter, and she's grown. At Christmas time, she still is like, here's my Christmas list. So, but I mean, I don't have to run around and be like, oh, I need to get this and this is a request and that's a request. I just think that even when you say, oh, I'm not in the Christmas spirit yet. Oh, people are like, oh, bah humbug. Oh, the Grinch or this. I mean, but why does it have to be that? Like, I don't feel like putting up all kind of stuff right now. We good. Listen, if you can wake up and today was uneventful and you can have a little laugh and you're happy, that's Christmas for us over here. That's Christmas for us. And what's today? The 16th? Yeah. So we celebrating Christmas today. Because on the 20th, it might not be like that.
It might not. And that's living in the moment. You know, as a hospice physician, that's how I live. I'm like, I see a lot. I see people at the end when they're awake and they're trying to grasp it. So today is today. I do have plans to see The Color Purple tomorrow. You know, I'm doing some fun stuff, but I'm on today. What is
Yes,
today about?
yes.
And that's what we do.
That's a big I kind of had to pull myself out of that rabbit hole. I was like, oh, the loss of freedom was major. I think it just really took a toll on me last year because during this caregiving journey, my husband got COVID and he was hospitalized and deemed to die. And he was in the hospital for months. And then my caregiver for my mom ended up getting COVID and having a stroke. So I was like, what is happening? Enough is enough. So once he got back home and we're in recovery for him and still caregiving and kind of going through a couple of caregivers trying to find the right fit, I just was like, I'm tired. So I had to pull myself out of that dark space because I was like, I feel like I just did not have the moment to come up for air. So now, like I said, today we had a good day. Mommy was in a good mood when she woke up. So I'm like, yeah, this is my Christmas.
Today was a good day. You keep dropping all the lyrics to our LA songs. We have all our inside jokes. We'll tell everybody how they can find you online and how to get one of those shirts. Because when we get off here, I'm ordering my t-shirt.
So I am on Instagram, damn you underscore dementia. That's damn DAMNU, the letter U underscore dementia. Instagram. And my daughter makes all my shirts.
Okay.
She is a 5th grade teacher, as I said, and she has her own little t-shirt business at Teach Shirts and Company. She was focusing on teachers, but you know, every now and then I'd be like, hey, can you do this and can you do that? And then I've had a lot of people that order from her. So yeah, we're doing good.
Well, I know about them t-shirts because you know we used to buy them t-shirts on Crenshaw and all that stuff, you know.
Yeah. Go to the Inglewood swap meet and get you a t-shirt printed out.
Oh, the Inglewood swap meet, or not the Slauson swap meet.
Slauson swap meet is a lot bigger, honey. You gonna come out there with t-shirts and boots, some fur boots and some apple bottom jeans.
Oh my goodness. Well, thank you for joining us. And it's been so fun and just helping me learn from you. And I'm just happy to amplify the message. So I'm sure we will talk again, Miss Carla.
We've got to. Yeah, you can go on and send me a little box of Seeds candy. Go ahead. Go ahead. Yes.
Yeah, just
I'll take the nuts and chews box, please. Mm-hmm.
And those little cookies. Remember about the tin of cookies.
Yes, please, please, please. Because they keep throwing these little kiosks out here in Georgia. I'm like, no, that's not it.
Okay, well, thank you so much for joining us. This is wrapping up the bonus holiday episode of Dr. G at the Heart of Healthcare. We'll be back in a month to talk about something else. But we hope everyone, however you celebrate, or if you have a normal, peaceful day, enjoy yourself.
Celebrate that.
Amen.
Yes.
All right. Peace, everyone.
Peace. Bye.
Peace.